You didn't just get B Corp status, you absolutely smashed it, which I'm not surprised about, but can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, we got a really good score. We got 124.6, I believe. And now we are actually in the process of saying to ourselves, right, what's happening in these areas at Riverford currently? Where do we know we would like to get to? And then also, what is B Corp asking us for? It just makes sense that that's what we should be doing.
Hi, I'm Fleur Lewis, Head of Food and Drink here at Bishop Fleming, and I'm here with my colleague, Isabel Savage. And we're here at the beautiful Riverford Organics headquarters and currently sitting in the Riverford Field Kitchen with Zach, who heads up the sustainability team here, and Jenny, who has multiple roles, but her main role is actually the ethical conscience of finance. Morning, everyone.
Hey.
Morning. So obviously Riverford has always been well known for sustainability and being ahead of the game, but perhaps you could just tell us a little bit about that journey and where Riverford is now.
Yeah, sure. So Riverford was founded in the 1980s by Guy Singh Watson, so he's a farmer. He started off just delivering veg boxes to friends and family, and then began delivering to supermarkets. Quite rapidly became disenchanted with the way that supermarkets treated him as a supplier. He effectively set out to demonstrate that both business and farming could be done in a really fair and ethical way for everybody involved, so suppliers, customers, staff, and the planet as well. Riverford's grown since that point in time, and we now deliver nationwide to over 70,000 customers a week. Guy has had, I think, many offers of approaches from investors to buy out in that time, and he's resisted them. And in 2018, sold a majority stake to Riverford's employees, so bringing Riverford into employee ownership. So all of the staff are now co-owners of the business. So we're not subject to requests or demands from shareholders, and we can make business decisions that are right for us as a business and for all of our stakeholders, so our co-owners, our suppliers, and our customers. Surplus food is also offered to staff who can take it away free of charge. Anything that's not fit for human consumption, we compost on site, and that goes back onto our land. So all round, we think a really great thing.
So, head of sustainability, net zero is obviously very important to you, and I know you've been working on that for quite some time. I guess where are you in terms of on that timeline, and what are some of the things that you're doing to get to that net zero target?
So we kind of started our net zero journey, if you like, in 2017-18, when we took a baseline study of Riverford's operational emissions. And since then we've been doing that annually, and now we've built up to a full net zero programme where we've established quite a few pathways for us to reduce our emissions, with the hopes of achieving our target of net zero in our operations by 2030. We work with a consultancy that's part of Exeter University, so they're called Exeter Centre for Energy and Environment. And what we do is we go through everything that, all activities that the business carries out, from the supplier gate to the customer's doorstep. We're working up to looking at supplier agricultural emissions, but at the moment it's just kind of operational. So that basically looks at everything that emits carbon from the transport, packing, distribution, all the packaging and materials use, on-site energy, and then moving goods around. That's all accounted for in the footprint. Our focuses in the short term are on transport, increasing the amount of renewable energy that we produce as a business, and then also seeking to reduce the amount of energy our refrigeration uses, but also to move to lower global warming potential refrigerant gases. My advice would be to make sure that you've got a strong set of criteria for what you want to do initially. If it's a nature-based solution, which it most likely will be at this stage, is it at least neutral, if not producing a net gain in biodiversity? Is the project going to have some sort of social value? So if you're creating a woodland, for example, you're just going to create a huge woodland next to a community and not let them use it, or are you going to create public access so people can have nature connection and enjoy that? It's not just sequestering carbon, it's a true public good in the most basic form.
Very early on, the business recognised that we needed to recruit the expertise into the business and also commit to the resources that we need in order to deliver on our targets.
We've gone from having no sustainability resource to having a full team now in the space of just a couple of years. So.
We don't treat the sustainability team as the people who are responsible for delivering it.
So I think, was it last year you declared your climate emergency? Can you just tell us a little bit about what that means to the business and what you are doing?
We recognise the global situation, and that essentially if our generation now, in probably a very short space of time, as in the next decade or so, doesn't take drastic action, both on climate change and greenhouse gas emissions, but also on the ecological crisis, we're heading for disaster. So we recognise that we're able to improve biodiversity on our land, we're able to use the land as a carbon sink in our soils, our hedgerows, in agroforestry, orchards and woodlands. We're able to clean up waterways where we can through the way we manage the land. We're able to utilise our influence in the wider agricultural and farming community to try and spread good influence on how we can manage land to the best of our ability to improve the ecology, but also to sequester carbon emissions.
And we recognise that's all going to come at a cost, a price.
You want to make sure that you're with a reputable partner. So in the UK, that might look like working with trusted local land conservation trusts, so like the Wildlife Trust, for example. Really, you don't want to be starting to looking at offsets until you know that you've set up or started to achieve significant reductions in your carbon footprint. Otherwise, you're just paying to pollute. You're paying for a license to continue releasing emissions.
And when you're talking about reducing, you're talking about the reductions that you can achieve within your business, so operationally, but then looking at the other types of emissions that are happening as a result of your activity. So working with your suppliers to help them reduce their emissions, looking at what your customers are producing as a result of using your goods and how you can influence their behaviour as well. So for us, for example, we would be looking at working or promoting to our customers how to use the whole of our vegetable so that there is less waste at the end of the day, and giving advice on different methods of cooking which may be more energy efficient.
We have a very high bar of suppliers that enter the Riverford supply base, but we noticed that actually we don't collect any data on environmental impacts of our supplier farms. And that's something that is also an aspiration of ours going forward and that we're going to be working on over the next year or so. And it's also a significant part of some of the points we could gain in the B Corps process. So that's a really good example of where those two things have tallied up really well.
I think we could probably sit here all day, although I know that in the field kitchen they're probably going to want to serve lunch in a minute. Thank you so much to you both. Fascinating. Honestly, could talk all day about it. And thank you for everyone for watching. You can find more interesting and inspiring stories on our YouTube channel.